Hello and welcome, dear friends, at Lit ECT, the YouTube channel dedicated to English literature that helps you in your exams like NTA NET English. Dear friends, today I have brought you a quick fire 20 questions session especially designed for keeping in mind your coming exam and focusing on some important topics of literary theory. I hope they will help you in your preparation. So dear friends, we will start this video, and our first question is, which among these essays in the list is the one not written by Cleanth Brooks? Okay, you have to find out the odd one. The first essay is The Quick and the Dead, a comment on humanistic study. Second is The Well-Wrought Urn. Third one is Literary Criticism, Poet, Poem and Reader. And the last one is A Critic's Job of Work. Out of these four essays, which one is not written by Cleanth Brooks? You have to tell the name of that particular essay. And dear friends, the correct answer is A Critic's Job of Work, which is actually written by R.P. Blackmore. Dear friends, I hope you know about these writers: Cleanth Brooks, R.P. Blackmore, Alan Tate, Ransom. These all are associated with the critical theory of new criticism. Our second question: which among the following pairs of the writer and the essay is not correctly matched? Okay, our first option is Ezra Pound, ABC of Reading. Second option is John Ransom, Criticism as Pure Speculation. Third option is Alan Tate, Miss Emily and the Bibliographer. And the last option is R.S. Crane, In Search of the New Criticism. Once again, all these writers, especially second, third and fourth option, they are associated with the high time of new criticism. The one pair that is not correctly matched is that of R.S. Crane. Actually, it was Cleanth Brooks who wrote this essay, In Search of the New Criticism. R.S. Crane, who belonged to an associated school, New Aristotelians, he was a bit different from the Southern New Criticism school promoted by Cleanth Brooks, Ransom and other theorists. Dear friends, third question is, which among these books attacks the structural Marxism of Louis Althusser and his followers in Britain on New Left Review? New Left Review is the name of a famous journal with which Louis Althusser's name is importantly associated. Now you have to tell me about the book which is against this particular school and its principle. The first option is The Party of Theory. The second option is The Making of the English Working Class. The third option is Culture and Society. And the last option is The Uses of Literacy. Dear friends, all these options, they are somehow related with, we can say, neo-Marxism or neo-communist theory. One is basically a critical critique, or we can say a negative response to Althusser's theory. And the correct answer for this particular book is The Poverty of Theory, which was penned by E.P. Thompson. I hope you know that E.P. Thompson is the name we mostly associated with the establishment of cultural studies as an academic discipline. He was, we can say, the driving force behind this particular new and very influential school. Our next question is, which among these books is not associated with archetypal criticism? Archetypal criticism, which is a part of, we can say, the structuralist theory. It was popularized in US and America by many critics. One among them is not in this list. The first option is Archetypal Patterns in Poetry, written by Mark Botkin. The second option is A Historical Grammar of Poetic Myth, written by Robert Graves. The third option is The Mirror and the Lamp by M.H. Abrahams. And the last option is Hero with 1,000 Faces by Joseph Campbell. Okay, out of all these four books, one is a book which is not associated with archetypal criticism. Dear friends, that particular book is The Mirror and the Lamp by M.H. Abrahams. It is basically a study of the romantic writers, romantic imagination, and it did much to basically bring positive attitude towards much criticized romantic poetry during the 30s and 40s. All other books, they are related with archetypal criticism. Now, our next question is, which is the correct chronological order for the following linguistics? All these are important names in the development of linguistics study. Emil Benveniste, Saussure, Giorgio Agamben, or Barthes. All these are, we can say, major figures, major intellectual associated with the study of linguistics. You have to find out the correct chronological order of their work and theory. Is it first one is Saussure, then Emil Benveniste, Barthes, and Giorgio Agamben, or Saussure, Agamben, Emil Benveniste, and Barthes? Or is it Saussure, Benveniste, Agamben, or Barthes? Dear friends, the actual order is Saussure. He was obviously the earliest one to introduce the concepts that were later used by many linguistics. He worked during the very first decade of the 20th century. Benveniste, the Italian scholar, he worked during the 20s and 30s. Then we have Barthes during the mid of 20th century, and Giorgio Agamben, he worked during 70s and 80s. Now our next question is, who is associated with the linguistic concept of the annons, that is a statement independent of context, and enunciation, the act of stating which is closely associated to context. Now our options are John Austin, Roman Jakobson, Emily Benveniste, and John Searle. Out of these four, the one associated with this particular division between annons and enunciation is Emile Benveniste. He basically gives this theory of differentiation between these two part of statements. Our next question, dear friend, is, who among these are closely associated with the Constance school of reception aesthetics, which we can say that it is an important part of development of reader response theory. Constance school, they also developed their certain concept. Now there are three names: Hans Robert Jauss, Wolfgang Iser, and Michael Riffaterre. Now Riffaterre, out of these three, is it first and second, Jauss and Iser? Second is second and third, Wolfgang Iser and Michael Riffaterre? Or is it first and third, or all of the above? Actually, the correct answer is only first and second. Jauss and Iser, they are both part of Constance school of reception aesthetics. Riffaterre, the French critic, he is related more with psychological school of reader response theory. Who among these is a pioneer in the field of linguistics criticism and has authored the remarkable essay Literature as Discourse, and it basically promoted an alternative linguistic approach to that of Roman Jakobson? So our options are Noam Chomsky, M.A.K. Halliday, and then we have Roger Fowler and Michel Foucault. All these have contributed something or other in the theory of discourse and also linguistic approach. And the correct answer for this particular option, the writer of the essay Literature as Discourse, is Roger Fowler. Our next question, dear friend, is which famous philosopher has contributed significantly to the theory of semantics through his groundbreaking distinction between the sense and reference of linguistic expression? Is it Ludwig Wittgenstein, Gottlob Frege, or is it Ferdinand de Saussure or John Searle? Out of these, it was basically Gottlob Frege who distinguished between two types of linguistic expression, the sense and the reference. What is the term used by Greimas for his influential concept about the elementary structure of signification? Greimas is a major figure when we talk about theory of narrative, structuralist approach towards narrative, and he gave a basic diagrammatic structure of signification. Is it semiotic circle, semiotic triad? Is it semiotic binary or semiotic square? And the correct answer is semiotic square, proposed by Greimas as a tool to understand or to analyze all type of narratives. Now next question is, who applied the term bracketing to refer to the suspending of judgment about the natural world in order to concentrate on its intrinsic nature? So our options are Edmund Husserl, Alfred Schutz, Maurice Merleau-Ponty, and Roman Ingarden. They basically, all these are somehow related with phenomenology, and we can say in consequence reader response theory. Bracketing refers to keeping our judgment aside, suspension of our judgment, and just what we perceive, what we feel according to our senses. This term bracketing is basically given by Edmund Husserl, who is also known as father and founder of phenomenology. Our next question is, which among these statements is true regarding Kristeva's famous concept of abject? The first is, Kristeva's abject is synonymous to Lacan's object of desire. Second is, abject may refer to the human reaction like rejection and refusal of the distinction between subject and object. The next one is, religion and art are two ways of purifying the abject. And our last option is, all statements are true regarding the concept of abject. Dear friends, the only one statement that is true is religion and art are two ways of purifying the abject. According to Kristeva, in her book Powers of Horror, she explains abject. It is like a human reaction like horror and vomiting, which is caused by the loss of distinction between subject or object or between self and other. One example is when we saw a corpse, a spectacle of corpse, which make us realize our own mortality and creates a situation of abject. Which of the following books takes a diametrically opposite line of argument to T.S. Eliot's Tradition and the Individual Talent? We know very well what are the main ideas proposed by Eliot in Tradition and the Individual Talent. Is it F.R. Lewis, The Great Tradition, Harold Bloom's The Anxiety of Influence, Paul Lemon's Blindness and Insight, or is it Raymond Williams' The Long Revolution? Now, among all these essays, the one which is basically opposite to the argument presented and promoted by T.S. Eliot in his Tradition and the Individual Talent is by Harold Bloom's The Anxiety of Influence, which basically points out the influence of the earlier generation upon the later one while they are writing their works. Mark Shaw, in his influential Technique as Discovery, one of the, we can say, path-breaking essays in both New Criticism and Formalism, it discusses the art of three novelists to prove his point of view. Which of the following novelist is not in the list of Mark Shaw? Is it H.G. Wells or D.H. Lawrence or James Joyce? And the last option is Virginia Woolf. Technique as Discovery. In this particular essay, Shaw points out that what is technique in writing and how can we locate it. It is Virginia Woolf that he doesn't discuss during his discussion on 20th century novelists. Which American novel is described by Edward Said as the greatest and most eccentric work of literary art produced in the United States? We know very well that Edward Said has done post-colonial analysis of many masterpieces like Jane Eyre's Mansfield Park, Robinson Crusoe. Now this one is also one of those novels. Is it The Old Man and the Sea, The Last of the Mohicans, Moby Dick, and the last option, Huckleberry Finn? Dear friend, it is Moby Dick, which has been analyzed by Said as a great novel and also presenting post-colonial, or we can say the colonial kind of exploitation. It deals also with this particular novel. Who coined the philosophical term transcendental homelessness to denote the characteristic feature of modern novels? Is it George Lucas? Is it Raymond Williams or Jean-Paul Sartre or Ian Watt? All these have given theory of novels. They have written in great manner about the art of fiction, novel, and this term transcendental homelessness is used to point out that earlier there used to be a harmony in epics and novels, but 20th century novel, according to George Lucas, in his book Theory of Novel, he points out that now there is a state of homelessness in these novels. Who among the following critics is not associated with the field of textual criticism? Textual criticism, which basically pays attention on the additions, publications, text, how footnotes, endnotes, all these things are taken into account. Is it R.B. McCarrow, Fredson Bowers, W.W. Gregg, and the last option E.M.W. Tilliard? Now, one of these is not associated with textual criticism, and the correct answer is E.M.W. Tilliard, who is associated with old historicism or understanding the historical background for a particular work. Deep ecology emphasizes the interdependent value of human and non-human life, as well as the importance of ecosystem and natural processes. Now you have to tell me the name of that particular scholar who coined the phrase. Is it Francois de Eubon, or is it Arne Naess, Rosemary Ruther, and last option is Cheryl Glott-Felty? All these are somehow related with eco-criticism, or we can say basic interrelationship between ecology, environment, and human being. But this particular term, deep ecology, it is coined by Arne Naess. Writing unfolds like a game that invariably goes beyond its rules, its own rules, and transgresses its limits. In which acclaimed essay this famous line occurs? The Death of the Author by Roland Barthes, Word Dialogue Novel by Julia Kristeva, What is an Author by Michel Foucault, or Discourse in the Novel by Mikhail Bakhtin. Now these essays, all these essays are, we can say, trendsetters, path-breaking. They have introduced new concept, new angles of reading a work, It is basically what is an author by Michel Foucault, in which he talks about that writing is a game of words. Which critique equated the work of third world texts to national allegories? Now you have to find out among these, was it Frederick Jameson, Aizaz Ahmad, Jean-Francois Lyotard, or Homi K. Bhabha? All these are prominent names in the field of post-colonial and also cultural studies, and one among them is responsible for comparing the works by third world writers or writers belonging to earlier colonies like India, West Indies, African subcontinent, and comparing their work not to the individual writers but national allegories. Dear friends, it is Frederick Jameson who, in his famous and controversial essay Third World Literature in the Era of Multinational Capitalism, he basically equated these texts to national allegories. Aizaz Ahmad gave a very spirited critique of this particular proposition. Okay, dear friends, that's all for today's quick fire round. These 20 questions, concepts and writers associated with these are very important for your coming examination. I hope you will give full attention to their works, theories and concept, and we will soon back with another video. Thank you, dear friends. Keep supporting.